While Sarah was pregnant, Ethan cheated on her. He abandoned Sarah on the highway after a car accident and went to buy Chloe's virginity at auction. Even after Sarah had a miscarriage, he still protected Chloe, who had plagiarized Sarah's work. Sarah decisively divorced him and went abroad to turn her life around. When Sarah returned, he wanted to remarry, but she refused. Later, Chloe framed Sarah, but Sarah used a recording to turn the tables. She stabbed Ethan, leading to her imprisonment, and he eventually lost his life. A sharp pain seized Sarah's lower abdomen. Sarah suppressed the grief in her heart and sent a message to Ethan. Sarah wants a divorce. Moments later, Ethan's phone rang and he immediately started berating Sarah. "What's wrong with you? Just because Sarah didn't go to your prenatal checkup, you want a divorce with Sarah? Is that really necessary?" The day he proposed to Sarah, Ethan had promised her, "Sarah, even if you grow old and ugly, Sarah will love you forever." But now, he sneered sarcastically, "You're heavily pregnant now, and you haven't even looked in the mirror to see how worn out you look. Who else would want you if you left Sarah? You're in your 30s and still so naive. Do you still think you're a young girl? Sarah doesn't have time to play these childish games with you." Sarah caressed her empty abdomen. Just as he made a dramatic, public declaration to claim his idealized woman's first night and was wrapped up in romance with her, Sarah's baby was already gone. After hanging up the phone, the nurse outside the hospital room was still laughing and chatting. "Did you hear? Chloe's home went bankrupt, and Chloe auctioned off her virginity to pay off debts." So many men were scrambling to bid, but Ethan, without a word, made a dramatic, public declaration. He held Chloe protectively in his arms. So masculine, right? "Oh my Sarah, Ethan is so devoted." Sarah really hoped they end up together. A bitter ache formed in Sarah's chest. If the person they were talking about wasn't Sarah's husband, Sarah might have offered a sincere blessing. Before Chloe returned to the country, Ethan had been incredibly attentive to Sarah, always warming her milk and giving her morning kisses. But ever since she came back on Sarah's wedding anniversary, she always called Ethan away for various reasons. Every time Sarah and Ethan had alone time, Chloe would complain about Ethan being unromantic, while simultaneously ruining Sarah's dates time and again. She tore Sarah's gown at Sarah's birthday party, and despite knowing Sarah was allergic to shrimp, she sent Sarah seafood soup, which caused Sarah to stay in the hospital for several days. At first, Ethan said, "Chloe is immature, just bear with her." The more Sarah questioned him, Ethan grew impatient. "Sarah and Chloe are just good friends." "You're overthinking it," Sarah asked reluctantly. "Just good friends?" He lost his patience. "Your mind is truly filthy. But what kind of friends would bid on each other's first night, and then end up in bed together?" After being discharged and returning home, the living room was a mess. Ethan walked out, paused for a second when he saw Sarah. "You're back? Was the prenatal checkup smooth?" Before Sarah could reply, he casually informed her, "Oh, Sarah forgot to tell you, Chloe's home went bankrupt and her enemies are chasing her for debts. She's just a young girl, and Sarah isn't comfortable with her being out there alone, so she'll be staying at Sarah's home for a while." The young girl, smiling, peeked her head from behind him and stuck out her tongue at Sarah. "Hi, Sarah." She was wearing Ethan's pajamas, and even the slippers on her feet were a couple set Sarah had bought for Ethan. Sarah gave Ethan a sarcastic look. He instinctively explained, "Chloe forgot to bring pajamas, so Sarah just grabbed a pair for her." Chloe, with an innocent expression, said, "Sarah, you don't mind, do you?" Sarah and Ethan grew up together. When Sarah was little, Sarah and Ethan were so close that Sarah and Ethan even shared pants. Ethan scolded her, but his tone was undeniably doting. "Chloe!" Chloe pounced and pinched Ethan's waist. "Humph, Sarah, look at him! He got my wife and forgot about Sarah, his good childhood friends." "Chloe, stop messing around. Your sister-in-law is still here." Watching the two of them playfully bicker, a sudden wave of nausea hit Sarah. She rushed to the bathroom and vomited until she felt dizzy. But she unexpectedly saw 5 or 6 open condom wrappers in the trash can, a clear indication of how intense their night had been. Sarah dug her nails into her palms, her eyes red-rimmed. Ethan followed her and patted Sarah's back. Morning sickness again? Sarah will get you some sour candies. As he turned, he seemed to remember something and his expression became unnatural. The sour candies are gone. Can Sarah get you something else? Ethan knew Sarah's morning sickness was severe, and he always kept sour candies at home. How could they be gone? Chloe, however, pointed to the trash can. Sister, Sarah is so sorry. Sarah was craving plums, so Ethan gave all the sour candies to Sarah. You know Sarah isn't like you younger girls, Sarah can just gobble them up. As she spoke, she shot Ethan a reproachful glare. Ethan, really, you knew Sarah had morning sickness and you still gave all the sour candies to Sarah. Chloe stepped forward and took Sarah's hand, shedding 2 tears. Sarah, if you want to blame someone, blame Sarah. It's all Sarah's fault for being so greedy. Sarah pulled her hand away. Ethan's face instantly darkened. What kind of attitude is that? It's just a few sour candies. You eat Sarah's food, wear Sarah's clothes, and spend Sarah's money. What right do you have to give Chloe that look? Sarah's chest tightened. Pain from the DC, dilation and curettage swept over her in waves, making Sarah unable to breathe. Ethan had abandoned Sarah, a pregnant woman, on the highway, showing her no concern at all. Now, just because Sarah pulled away from Chloe's hand, he was furious with Sarah. Realizing he had spoken too harshly, Ethan offered Sarah a way out. Fine, you're pregnant. Sarah won't blame you. Apologize to Chloe and this matter will be over. Why should I? Why should Sarah apologize when she ate Sarah's sour candies and Sarah still has to apologize to her? Sarah questioned unwillingly, her chest feeling like it was blocked by a heavy lump, both sour and bitter. Because you're older and you're flexible enough to bend when necessary, unlike Chloe, who can't stand even a little bit of injustice. Ethan knew Sarah had claustrophobia, yet he locked Sarah inside the bathroom. If you don't apologize, you'll sleep here tonight. Sarah will let you out when you're ready to apologize to Chloe. Chloe hesitated, saying, But isn't it bad to lock Sarah in the bathroom? Don't mind her. Pregnant older women are just petty and narrow-minded. She deserves a lesson. The lights in the bathroom suddenly flickered and went out. In the cramped, dark space, Sarah desperately pounded on the door, begging in a tearful voice. Ethan, Sarah was wrong. Sarah knows Sarah was wrong. Please let Sarah out. But from the next room, only the sounds of their intimate entanglement could be heard. Ethan, are you really so obsessed with Sarah's body? Sarah can't take it anymore. Sarah spent $30 million. You have to let Sarah enjoy herself, little minx. Ethan. The next day, late in the morning, Ethan mercifully opened the bathroom door. Have you learned your lesson? Sarah lay on the floor, her eyes bloodshot, her hands trembling. Ethan frowned. Sarah just made you reflect in the bathroom. Why the long face? You make it seem like Sarah abused you. As a child, Sarah was kidnapped by thugs. To extort Sarah's parents, they locked Sarah in a kennel and tortured her for 3 days and 3 nights. Since then, Sarah couldn't stand being alone in confined spaces. When Ethan found out, he held Sarah tightly. My wife, Sarah swears, Sarah will never let you experience anything like that again in this life. But now, to protect his childhood friends, he locked Sarah in the bathroom for a night. Since you're awake, come have breakfast. Even if you don't want to eat, don't starve the baby in your belly. Sarah struggled to get up. On the table, only Sarah's least favorite cold, hard dumplings remained. Sarah took a bite. It was cold and hard. Chloe had just finished her warm oatmeal with egg and said with a smile to Sarah, Sarah, Ethan's cooking is amazing. Sarah just casually mentioned Sarah wanted a sandwich and oatmeal with egg, and he personally cooked them for Sarah. Sarah is so envious of you. You get to eat breakfast personally made by Ethan every day. You're so lucky. Ethan's expression stiffened. He said guiltily, Sarah is busy with multi-million-dollar deals every day. Sarah doesn't have time for domestic chores. Sarah felt a lump in her throat. For years of their marriage, Ethan had said his hands were for signing multi-million-dollar deals, not for chopping vegetables or washing dishes. So even when Sarah was sick with a fever, he never stepped into the kitchen, let alone made oatmeal with egg. What Sarah had never experienced, Chloe received effortlessly. Perhaps feeling he had gone too far last night, Ethan suggested taking Sarah out for a candlelit dinner. Sarah thought she might as well use this opportunity to discuss the divorce with him. Getting into the car, Sarah reached out instinctively, and her hand brushed against a pink lace lingerie. Ethan's face instantly changed. He lied without batting an eye. A gift Sarah was preparing for you. Do you like it? Sarah saw the suspicious water stains on it and smiled. Ethan nervously explained. Chloe saw it last time and said she hadn't worn this kind of feminine clothing before, so Sarah let her try it on first. She got some water on it. Don't be angry. Sarah's not angry. Sarah interrupted him. Call Sarah when Sarah arrives. They tried several restaurants, but Ethan wasn't satisfied with any of them. He kept frowning and staring at his phone messages. It wasn't until his phone screen lit up, displaying the contact name Darling Chloe, that Ethan's lips curled into a pleased smile. Sarah's eyes dimmed. They had known each other for 10 years, yet Ethan's contact name for Sarah was always just her full name. He said long-term couple didn't need to be so sappy, but Chloe was always his exception, his preference. Finally, Sarah sat down at a fine dining restaurant. Chloe suddenly appeared, holding a stranger's hand. Wow, this afternoon, Sarah told Ethan to bring you out on a date to apologize. Ethan, you're so proactive. And the restaurant you found is perfectly to Sarah's taste. She said sourly. Such a perfectly devoted man is hard to find. Sarah is so envious of you. Poor Sarah can only go on blind dates to find someone. The orange juice she had just drunk was sweet and tangy, but only bitterness remained in Sarah's mouth. Last week, Sarah booked a restaurant, hoping to have dinner with Ethan, but he said he was too busy with work and didn't have time. But with just one word from Chloe, he willingly put aside all his work and took Sarah out on a date. Ethan never paid attention to Sarah's emotions from beginning to end. His eyes were fixed on Chloe's hand clasped with the man's. Who gave you permission to go on a blind date? What's it to you? Who told you to stop having time to go shopping with Sarah after you got married? They had an argument. Chloe started making a scene, her eyes red-rimmed. Sarah doesn't want you to control Sarah. Who are you to Sarah? Go control your precious wife. Ethan said fiercely. As long as you're Sarah's friend, Sarah will look after you for life. Don't you dare associate with this man again. Watching Ethan's jealous behavior over Chloe, Sarah's heart, which had been like still water, throbbed with pain once more. Sarah lost her appetite. As she stepped out, a large dog suddenly darted out. Chloe screamed in terror. Ethan, save Sarah! In the nick of time, Ethan, holding a wooden stick, shielded Chloe behind him and pushed Sarah away. Sarah looked back in disbelief. The large dog pounced on Sarah, viciously biting her calf. Intense pain shot through her and Sarah cried out for help in agony. Ethan, however, covered Chloe's eyes. Don't look, what if it frightens you? A piece of flesh was ripped from Sarah's leg. Hearing this, her face turned even paler and she fainted. After waking up in the hospital, the foredrip on her hand had already started to backflow blood. The nurse, who had rushed over, looked anxious. Where is your husband? You're so badly injured. And he's not even taking good care of you? Ethan arrived late and said guiltily, My wife, Sarah, is sorry. The situation was urgent then, so Sarah had to protect Chloe, who was closest to Sarah first. Sarah will compensate you, my wife. Sarah's keen eye noticed that his shirt buttons were wrongly fastened by one, revealing a hickey underneath. A wave of desolation washed over her. In the 2 hours Sarah was unconscious, Sarah's husband had been impatiently intimate with Chloe. Sarah took out the divorce papers she had prepared earlier. Since you want to compensate Sarah, just sign here. Ethan signed it without even looking. Buy any mansion you want. Sarah looked at him. Aren't you afraid Sarah would make you sign divorce papers? Ethan raised an eyebrow. How is that possible? You love Sarah so much, would you make Sarah sign divorce papers? Sarah's heart trembled. Just then, on the hospital TV, a painting from the design competition's rising star was being shown. It was conspicuously the Rose Maiden, which Sarah had painted previously, but the name signed was Chloe. This Chloe is amazing. Even though Chloe's home went bankrupt, she's a talented artist. Look, she won the championship in her first competition. Sarah's mind went blank. This painting, the Rose Maiden, Sarah had kept in the storage room. It was a tribute Sarah had painted to her deceased mother, and also a portrait Sarah had personally painted for her mother before she passed away. The only person who had ever seen it was Ethan. That time, he had comforted Sarah. Although your mother has passed away, you still have this painting with you and you have Sarah with you. Sarah looked at Ethan, who was standing beside her with a guilty expression. Why? Sarah's most cherished painting had been stolen, yet Ethan said nonchalantly, It's just a trophy. You have so many anyway, what's wrong with giving one to Chloe? Don't be so stingy. Sarah's heart was sharply pierced. She picked up a cup and threw it at him. Ethan! You know how important this painting is to Sarah. A cut appeared on his forehead from the impact. His face darkened, as if ink could drip from it. Sarah thinks you're truly insane. Jealous shrew. Sarah was almost laughing from anger, her eyes filled with tears. She grabbed her phone regardless. Sarah will make sure everyone knows now. That Chloe is nothing but a hidden plagiarizer. Ethan nervously snatched the phone from Sarah's hand and it shattered with a crash. How can you be so vicious? Chloe is only in her 20s. Do you want to ruin her life? Watching his actions, Sarah broke down and cried aloud. Ethan panicked and stepped forward to comfort Sarah. You're old now. Wouldn't it be better to just be a homemaker? Chloe is still young. She needs this award more than you do. Besides, without her, your painting might not have become this famous. Sarah choked up, looking at the man she had shared a bed with for 3 years, unable to say a single word. Ethan thoughtfully tucked Sarah into bed, while cruelly saying, Go to sleep. When you wake up, remember to promote Chloe. Sarah remembers you have a lot of followers on social media, e.g. Instagram. She's a newcomer, she needs traffic and hype. Help her out. How ridiculous. To ask an original artist to cheer on a plagiarist. Sarah's tears silently streamed down her face. Ethan still thought Sarah was just being difficult and stroked Sarah's hair. Be good, be obedient. Tomorrow, Sarah will arrange the most comprehensive prenatal checkup for you, okay? Sarah will be with you the whole time. All right, stop crying. Otherwise, the baby in your belly will be unhappy too. He kissed Sarah's eye. Be good. Those reputations and awards aren't important. Isn't it enough that Sarah loves you? There won't be a tomorrow. And Sarah doesn't have a baby anymore. Sarah thought silently to herself. That night, Sarah booked the earliest plane ticket, packed her bags, and placed the miscarriage report on the bedside table. After sending him one last message, she blocked him. Ethan, Sarah is getting a divorce. Ethan had just picked Chloe up from the competition venue. Chloe skillfully got into his passenger seat and scoffed at the sign on it, which read my wife's exclusive seat. Sarah, seriously, what era is this? Still playing the doted wife card. For the first time, Ethan spoke with some disapproval. Don't talk about Sarah like that. She loves Sarah too much, and besides, your work was stolen from her. Chloe pouted aggrievedly. You still say you didn't forget your friend once you got my wife? You're always defending her. Ethan comforted Chloe, feeling an inexplicable unease in his heart. All right, don't be angry. If Sarah didn't care about you, why would Sarah sleep with you? Hmm. Chloe was immediately appeased and sweetly planted a kiss on Ethan's face. His phone suddenly rang a few times. Ethan asked Chloe to check it for him. Chloe quickly glanced at the message on the phone, her lips curving into an uncontrollable smile of delight, and she lied. It seems to be a message from Sarah. Ethan, she's probably still angry about Sarah taking her painting. Sarah told you you can't spoil women. The more you indulge her, the more she'll throw her weight around. Ethan, maybe you shouldn't reply to her message yet? Ethan frowned slightly, thinking about what he had said to Sarah and her intense reaction, and hesitated. Noticing Ethan's dilemma, Chloe whispered huskily into his ear, her breath like orchids, "Please, Ethan." She dangled a small piece of fabric in her hand, smiling like a little minx. "Ethan, this is a surprise Chloe prepared for you tonight." The moment he saw what was in her hand, Ethan's breath hitched. Sarah was instantly cast out of his mind. A night of passion. It wasn't until late morning that Ethan remembered his promise to Sarah from yesterday. He had promised to accompany her for a comprehensive prenatal checkup today. He couldn't break his word again. Ethan swiftly got up. Behind him, Chloe, who had woken up at some point, wrapped her arms around his waist and softly pleaded, "Ethan, please don't go." His mind was a tangled mess. On one hand, there was Sarah in the hospital, and on the other, Ethan eventually pried Chloe's fingers away and told her seriously, "Chloe, next time." Sarah promised to go with Sarah for her prenatal checkup today, he said, and quickly left, giving Chloe no chance to speak. Chloe's previously gentle expression turned icy cold, and a vicious glint sparked in her eyes. It was Sarah again. But soon she remembered the message Sarah had sent. Chloe smiled triumphantly. She looked around Ethan's bedroom. Soon this would be her home. But Chloe didn't expect that Ethan, without Sarah, would treat her that way. Feeding all the way to the hospital, Ethan rushed straight to the hospital room, gasping for breath. Sarah is sorry." Something urgent came up at the company, and Sarah had to deal with it. As his words fell, he and the cleaner inside, who was tidying up, stared at each other. Sarah wasn't even there. "The cleaner, where did the patient here go?" Cleaner stopped her work, her loud voice like a clap of thunder in Ethan's ear. "Patient? You mean the young girl who was bitten by a dog? She was discharged last night. The nurse couldn't even persuade her to stay." Ethan froze completely. He couldn't believe that Sarah would leave the hospital without a word. He even worried she'd be inconvenient by herself while pregnant, and proactively came to the hospital to accompany her for her prenatal checkup. Ethan's fists clenched tight, his teeth grinding audibly. In his memory, Sarah had always been obedient and sensible. When he was drunk, she would make him hangover soup, and every morning she would tie his tie for him. Chloe was right. Women just shouldn't be spoiled too much. Cleaner suddenly handed him a document. "Young man, see if this belongs to your wife." Sarah found it on the bedside table while Sarah was cleaning. Ethan, still fuming, saw the clear, large characters on the document, and his hands trembled uncontrollably. Miscarriage surgery? The name filled in the name field was Sarah. Their baby was gone, and the date of the miscarriage was exactly the day he abandoned Sarah and went to bought Chloe's virginity at auction. Ethan's breath hitched, his voice tight. "Impossible, no. How could she have had a miscarriage?" During that time, Chloe's home went bankrupt and she had a spat with him. To prove her importance to him, she deliberately went to an auction and auctioned off her virginity. Upon hearing that news, he lost his mind then. In a fit of rage, he abandoned Sarah on the highway. He still remembered Sarah crying, begging him not to leave, but what had he said to her then? "Keep making things up. You're perfectly fine. How could anything be wrong? Don't be pathetic." Those harsh words now turned into daggers, stabbing him precisely in the heart. Ethan was overwhelmed with guilt, his heart aching immensely. His and Sarah's baby was gone due to his negligence. His eyes were bloodshot. He grabbed the cleaner's arm and asked, "Did she leave anything else?" Cleaner shook her head, thinking she had encountered a madman, and quickly ran off. Ethan belatedly called Sarah, only to find that she had already blocked him. On her messaging app, there was only one message left: Sarah wants a divorce. He remembered asking Chloe to check his messages yesterday, but she had told him Sarah was just throwing a tantrum and that he shouldn't appease her. Now it was clear she had done it on purpose. Ethan angrily returned home, wanting Chloe to give him an explanation, but he overheard a conversation that made him incredulous. That bitch Sarah occupied Ethan for so many years, but wasn't Sarah still driven away? Ethan locked her in the bathroom. Sarah knew she had claustrophobia, so Sarah deliberately had someone trip the circuit breaker. You should have seen how scared she looked, huh? And that large dog, Sarah also specifically arranged for it to bite Sarah. It's a pity the dog didn't tear off Sarah's face. But that bitch Sarah is still somewhat useful. Sarah just tearfully complained to Ethan that Sarah didn't have a masterpiece, casually hinting a few times, and he gave Sarah's painting to Sarah. Chloe, wearing a nightgown, her legs swinging as she talked on the phone, was smiling triumphantly. Ethan reeled from her words, his body trembling. He never imagined that Chloe, who usually seemed so innocent, could be so malicious behind his back. The voices inside continued. Chloe's friend asked Chloe, "Aren't you afraid Ethan will find out? Especially during the time your home went bankrupt and you had that spat with him, you even went and slept with those wealthy men. If he knew, he would never let you off the hook?" Ethan sharply looked up at Chloe, his eyes filled with immense fury and shock. Vanessa was completely unaware that Ethan had heard everything. She even lit a cigarette, a smirk playing on her lips. What's there to fear? Ethan, darling loves me so much. At worst, I'll just shed a few tears and claim I was coerced and tempted, that I had no choice but to go along with them. Ethan will only dote on me more. Ethan's brain buzzed, his blood boiling as it rushed to his head. He kicked open the door and sneered, "Coerced and tempted?" Vanessa jumped, quickly hanging up the phone. She began to feign distress, sobbing, "Ethan, you're back. What did you hear?" "Wah, those people forced me. Ethan, you know my family went bankrupt. I had no choice but to obey them." Looking at Vanessa, clinging to him like a helpless bird in his arms, Ethan's chest heaved violently. Did she truly think he was a fool? "Vanessa, you dare to lie to me. I truly believe I've treated you well, so why do you repeatedly hurt my wife?" Thinking of everything Olivia had suffered, and her disappointed gaze, Ethan's heart twisted in agony. Vanessa still tried to play dumb, tears welling up in her eyes. "Ethan, darling, what are you talking about? I don't understand. Did Olivia say something to you?" "Ah!" Ethan grabbed Vanessa by the throat, his eyes bloodshot and wild, roaring, How dare you do this to Olivia? You clearly knew she had claustrophobia, yet you deliberately shut off the power, let dogs bite her, and stole her artwork." Vanessa's face flushed red as she incessantly hit Ethan, a venomous voice squeezing through her clenched teeth. You know everything, don't you?" Ethan threw her to the ground like a rag doll. Vanessa gasped for air, then laughed maniacally. "Ha ha ha ha, Ethan, don't forget, you told me Olivia had claustrophobia, and you yourself locked Olivia in the bathroom." "Yes, I did have someone release the dogs. But what did you do? You pushed her away at the critical moment." Ethan's heart felt as if it were being torn to shreds, sliced into 1,000 pieces. Pain made his lips tremble. "Shut up!" Panic welled up in his heart. "I didn't. You forced me. It was you." Even now, he was still shirking responsibility. He couldn't believe that he had pushed away the person who loved him, while the one he had always trusted was utterly heartless. Vanessa laughed, tears streaming down her face, her voice hoarse and strained. "Did I force you to take out the artwork too? Did I tell you to hurt her? Ethan, you're the one who wronged her, not me." Clap of thunder. Outside, A wild wind howled and heavy rain poured down. Ethan's usually straight back bent for a moment. It was him. He was the one who hurt Olivia. He was the one who abandoned Olivia during her prenatal checkup, which caused her miscarriage. He was the one who locked Olivia in the bathroom. Thinking of all the despicable things he had done, Ethan's heart felt like it was bleeding. He punched the nearby wall, blood streaming from his hand. "Get out! Don't let me see you again." Ethan searched for Olivia for a whole month, but she was as if she had vanished. Until one day, he received freshly issued divorce papers, with his and Olivia's names clearly written on them. "No, impossible, this can't be. When did I?" He stood dumbfounded, as if struck by lightning, for a while before he finally remembered that the agreement Olivia had asked him to sign earlier was a divorce agreement. Ethan's face turned pale. It was him. He had personally signed it, personally agreed to the divorce, allowing Olivia to escape from his side. Unable to find Olivia, Ethan drank heavily all day, unshaven, with dark circles under his eyes. The once arrogant Vanessa tearfully tried to persuade him. "What's the point of still missing her? She's already divorced you, she doesn't love you anymore." Ethan shook off her hand, his eyes bloodshot, and muttered, "No, she wouldn't. She loved me so much. As long as I apologize to her, she'll definitely come back to me." Vanessa sobbed, a flash of resentment in her eyes. "Olivia, I will never let you off the hook." After going abroad, I received a good offer thanks to one of my old artworks, successfully becoming a behind-the-scenes designer. 2 years later, as the company wanted to develop the US market and I returned to the country with my assistant, Ethan walked towards me, holding a bouquet of 100 roses, his gaze filled with deep affection. "Olivia, do you know how much I've missed you?" After 2 years, he was much thinner and looked haggard. My colleagues, unaware of the situation, thought he was a crazed admirer of mine. "Olivia, I've thought things through. I truly love you. I didn't know about your miscarriage. I was wrong. I won't have any contact with Vanessa anymore. Shall we remarry?" I smiled mockingly. "So you really want to humiliate me with your affairs?" My colleagues' gazes instantly changed, and they began to whisper amongst themselves. Finn's face instantly darkened. "Don't be like this, Olivia." He choked back tears, his words filled with his reluctance to let me go, his eyes even red. "For the most part, these past 2 years, life without you has been truly hard for me. No one helps me tie my tie every morning, no one reminds me of important meetings, and no one makes me a soothing broth when I'm drunk. I really need you." I could see the regret in his eyes. I shook my head. "Ethan, what you lack isn't a wife. It's a dedicated secretary who won't question your ambiguous relationships, and someone to be a personal chef and tireless housekeeper for you. You never needed me." I pried his hand open, threw the bouquet of roses into the trash can, and felt a sense of relief. Finn's voice was hoarse. "No, Olivia, it's not like that." He began to explain that he had initially only felt sympathy for Vanessa, thinking how difficult it was for a woman. But later, he found Vanessa to be more vibrant and interesting than me, whom he'd come to perceive as old-fashioned and dull. So, he began to seek excitement in this so-called platonic friendship. But the moment he discovered Vanessa had lied to him, they fought viciously. And only then did Ethan realize that the purest and most genuine affection, the one he had with Olivia, had been lost by him. His eyes were moist. "Olivia, do you still remember? Whenever I traveled for business, you always liked to eat the beef rice noodles from this place, and I would always pack some back for you." I looked up. The familiar sign came into view. Can't remember which winter it was, but it was snowing outside when Ethan took me to a cozy diner to eat beef rice noodles. I was a picky eater. I didn't like to eat cilantro itself, but I liked the subtle flavor it imparted to the rice noodles. Ethan patiently picked out the cilantro for me. The snow was falling heavily, drifting onto his eyelashes. Fleeting. Just like our relationship, shattered beyond repair. Ethan, we're not children anymore. In this marriage, you are the wrongdoer, the betrayer, the deceiver. Don't try to use beautiful memories to obscure your current mistakes. He almost choked up. Why can't you forgive me? Why can't you just give me one more chance? I spoke calmly and sharply. Then who can give our unborn child a chance? With just one glance, he crumbled, fleeing in a panic. However, at this very moment, a group of reporters carrying their cameras raised them in front of me. A sharp, scathing question was thrown at me. As a plagiarist, brazenly incorporating a newcomer's artwork into your own graphic novel elements, don't you feel any shame? I heard Ms. Hayes once won first prize in a national painting competition. How is it that now you can only rely on extracting inspiration from others' works? My pupils constricted and my face turned deathly pale. My colleagues, who were with me, only then discovered the news exploded online. The entire internet was saying our graphic novel publisher had plagiarized newcomer artist Vanessa's new work, The Unyielding Trumpet Vine. Only I realized that her new work clearly bore the shadow of my Rose Maiden. One entertainment reporter even deliberately made things difficult. Which artist do you plan to plagiarize for your next work? The entire hall erupted in laughter. I wanted to defend myself. The client's manager, who had picked us up, looked grim and left on the spot. I believe your company has no sincerity for cooperation. Although my boss believed me, he couldn't withstand the board's decision and still issued an ultimatum. Olivia, I know your capabilities, but the power of online public opinion is immense. My colleagues comforted me one after another. Olivia, they don't believe you, but we do. But that night, as I looked at the uniformly abusive paid commenters on social media, my knuckles gradually whitened. Copycat daring to come back to make money, do you really think everyone's a fool? She brazenly used material from a new artist in her CG. Support Vanessa. Vanessa even said the artwork expressed her longing for her deceased loved ones. Some shameless plagiarist won't try to claim it's a common trope, right? Haha. I never expected Vanessa to not only steal my artwork but also my concept. Coincidentally, at this time, Ethan sent me a message. Olivia, I've seen everything online. Vanessa is about to attend the awards ceremony. I'll report her to the organizing committee. Reporting her would only bring this matter to a temporary halt. It wouldn't fully clear my name. What I wanted was for her to return everything she stole. I sent Ethan a message. You really want to help me? Of course. The day before the awards ceremony, Vanessa smugly sent me a message. Olivia, so what if this painting is yours? Am I not the one getting the award now? I casually replied, do you really think you can get this award? Vanessa immediately flew into a rage. Olivia, what do you want to do? The outcome is decided. I'm definitely getting this award. Don't even dream of ruining my awards ceremony. Don't try to deceive me. You have no evidence to prove I plagiarized you. I'm currently sought after by major graphic novel publishers. Who do you think you are? Thiek. Olivia, what are your true intentions? I took a look, then smiled, took a screenshot, and sent it back. Originally, there wasn't. Now there is. Vanessa was furious. She even called me directly. Olivia, you think you snatched away Ethan? Darling, and you can still snatch away my trophy? In your dreams. You're already divorced. I'm the most important person in Ethan's heart. I listened to her words with interest. I spoke casually. You say you're the most important person to Ethan? Then why, after divorcing me, did you two still not end up together? Or did he just treat you as a mere plaything? The sound of something being smashed came from the other end of the line, and Vanessa screamed frantically. Ah! I hung up the phone. Since Vanessa wanted to attend the awards ceremony, then let her attend. Anyway, it wasn't hers, so she couldn't take it. On the day of the awards ceremony, Ethan also participated as a judge, even investing millions more, turning this originally small awards ceremony into a highly anticipated live broadcast event. And I was among the audience. Comments section for the live broadcast instantly exploded, mindlessly praising CEO Ethan Hayes' overt love for Vanessa, while blasting me, the plagiarist, for having the audacity to attend the ceremony. Vanessa's mouth stretched into a wide grin. She happily boasted to me, "Olivia, are you jealous of me? Money talks, and so does love. I'm the only one Ethan loves." She casually tossed her freshly styled hair. "Did you see what the fans in the comments section are saying? Ethan, darling, and I are the perfect couple." I curled my lips into a smile. "I hope you can still smile later. Just be jealous of me, Olivia." Vanessa haughtily lifted her chin, lifted her gown, and walked onto the stage to receive the award. Thunderous applause erupted from the audience below. With a proud and smug expression, she said, "It's a great honor to receive this award. Although during the creative process, I encountered some vain little thieves who tried to steal my work, the soul of my creation is something they can never steal." Her gaze was pointed, and the flashing lights cooperated perfectly, focusing on my face. Comments section online cursing me scrolled endlessly. But in the very next second, an audio clip suddenly began to play on the hall's large screen. Rose Maiden was indeed drawn by Olivia? But so what? Isn't it mine now? Even you, Ethan, are mine. Then why don't you draw it yourself? Oh, come on, Ethan. You clearly know I know nothing about drawing. All those artworks were traced by people I hired. Thanks to that bitch Olivia drawing this picture, otherwise, how would I have stepped on her to get ahead? Vanessa's face instantly turned deathly pale, and she loudly demanded staff to remove the audio clip. But this event was grand and widely publicized. Vanessa, for building her image as a star, had invited many media outlets to witness it, and the news reporters now swarmed like sharks to blood. No, it's not what you think it is. It's all slander. This recording must be synthesized. Vanessa's expression twisted. It must be you, right? Olivia, you did this, didn't you? She stepped forward, trying to tear at me, her eyes bloodshot. Olivia, say something. It's you, isn't it? I smiled calmly. It was Ethan, your perfect couple. Vanessa completely broke down, furiously grabbing my throat. Ah! You bitch. I'll kill you. Ethan shoved her to the ground. He stood in front of me, looking at her coldly. Have you made enough of a scene? Vanessa clutched her injured, bleeding forehead, looking up in disbelief, her voice hoarse. Why? Ethan said indifferently, You brought it upon yourself. Vanessa's face went blank, losing all color. Porters who captured this scene surrounded her. Even the comments section on the live broadcast instantly turned against her. So Vanessa was the plagiarist all along. I also found out she was a homewrecker during Ethan and Olivia's marriage. How disgusting. The truth is out, isn't it? I knew Olivia didn't look like that kind of person. The thief crying, "Stop thief," truly shameless. In the midst of the chaos, I walked onto the podium and spoke with resounding clarity. May originality always be grand and glorious. Below the stage, Ethan, trembling, tried to take a ring from his pocket. Olivia, As he was speaking, a sharp pain shot through his back. He turned around. A knife in Vanessa's hand was plunged into his back, her eyes full of hatred and bloodshot. Ethan, die. She stabbed him more than 10 times, leaving him covered in blood. The scene was filled with screams. When the police arrived and apprehended her, Ethan had already collapsed in a pool of blood. Before he died, he unwillingly tried to grasp the hem of my dress. Olivia, can you forgive me? I stopped. Thank you, Ethan, for giving me that recording and having it played at the ceremony. Otherwise, with my strength alone, I truly couldn't have turned the situation around. But I cannot forgive you. Hearing my words, Ethan spat out a mouthful of blood. Doctors frantically tried to save him. It's over, the patient has no heartbeat. At Ethan's funeral, his personal assistant took out a document. Mr. Hayes had always felt terribly sorry for your miscarriage and had already drawn up a will, willing to leave all his property to you. Now that Mr. Hayes is dead, I should hand these over to you. I walked out of the main entrance. A group of reporters thrust microphones in front of me. In front of the cameras, I wiped a tear from the corner of my eye. I feel great sorrow regarding my ex-husband's death. Everyone praised my deep affection for my ex-husband, claiming that even though he cheated and did everything to wrong me, I still loved him. But where the cameras couldn't see, I curled the corner of my lips into a smile. There was no knife at the awards ceremony. That knife was accidentally dropped by Vanessa when she was grabbing my throat. I went back to the restaurant Ethan and I used to frequent and sat in our usual spot. That year, Ethan had said, "Olivia, you love this place. Even when we're old and need canes, we'll still come here to eat, okay?" But later, he grew tired of this restaurant and he grew tired of me too. I lowered my gaze, the steaming mist from the bowl warming my eyes. From the deepest love, the fiercest hatred can bloom. Ethan, I am truly grateful to you for taking my career to the next level and leaving all your property to me.